Hello and welcome. Welcome back to the studios of the Agile Mastery Academy, and welcome back to our podcast, one in a whole series of podcasts that we are doing on extreme agile, a term coined by Jeff Sutherland, co-founder of Scrum. So what we have in our series here is we have two of our key analysts, research analysts, Alex and Melissa, talking through what they have discovered, and then we'll move on to the next podcast after that. So this is a continuing series. So with that, thank you for spending time with us, and we look forward to seeing you in the podcast and then continuing with the other podcasts. Thank you.
Welcome to the deep dive. If you've ever sat in a planning session, you probably know that sound of a good idea just grinding to a halt.
Oh, yeah.
It's not the code that's slowing you down, not really. It's all the friction of the process itself. It's the hours you spend trying to refine some vague request, or the days lost writing the same boilerplate code over and over again.
Or that sinking feeling that your documentation is already out of date.
Exactly, before the sprint even ends.
That friction, that's the real enemy of velocity. We've been looking at a set of research that doesn't just theorize about AI. It actually quantifies the impact it's having right now on standard Agile and Scrum.
And the claim is it's kind of monumental.
It is. The idea is that by hitting all these friction points at once, teams are seeing performance gains of up to, believe it or not, 30 times.
30 times. Okay. So our mission today is to really analyze the specific practical areas, I think there are 6 of them, that cover the whole life cycle. We want to show you exactly how these speed gains can compound into something, well, exponential.
And the sources, they map out this whole transformation. It goes from the very beginning, from product planning, all the way through to monitoring the team's health. But I think the core question we really have to get at is this.
Okay.
If AI takes over all the admin, all the repetitive stuff that slows us down,
Yeah.
where do we, as humans, need to stay firmly in control?
Where's our job?
Exactly. Where is that essential strategic control point? We're the ones steering, and the AI is just the accelerator.
Okay, let's unpack that. I think we have to start with the universal time sync backlog refinement.
Oh, definitely.
I remember spending whole afternoons just arguing about whether improve the cart meant, adding a coupon code or just fixing the mobile layout.
And the research suggests that kind of debate, that manual refinement, it can eat up a painful 10% of a team's entire capacity every single sprint.
That's a huge tax on creativity.
It is. And what's fascinating here is how these GPT-based systems, they just attack that vagueness problem head on. The product owner feeds in the general idea.
That high-level vague request.
Right. And the AI's job is to just, boom, rapidly expand it into clear, perfectly structured user stories.
Okay, but hold on. I can see a problem there. Doesn't that just, if you put garbage in, are you not just getting 10 times more, well-structured garbage out?
That is a fantastic question.
Yeah.
And it's the critical check these systems have built in. The AI doesn't just write, it runs compliance checks.
Compliance checks.
Yeah, so for instance, it makes sure every story sticks to core principles, like invest. Now, for anyone who's not familiar, invest just stands for independent, negotiable, valuable, estimable, small, and testable.
It's the standard quality checklist for any good user story.
Exactly. The AI validates against that automatically.
So it applies the structural discipline, and I'm guessing it doesn't stop there.
Correct. It auto-populates the acceptance criteria, it cross-references docs that already exist, and it even suggests a preliminary priority.
Based on what?
Based on things like estimated complexity and the perceived value against, the company's strategic goals. So the result is that a 4-hour, often agonizing refinement session, it becomes a focused 30-minute review.
And the team is just validating and aligning strategy.
They're just tweaking the AI's draft. And that's how you get that incredible 10x multiplier on your planning efficiency.
Okay, so that 10x multiplier in planning, that's huge. That has to have a knock-on effect, right? Where does that speed go next?
It pours directly into the next big area, which is, development itself. That's where most of the sprint's cost and effort really lies.
This is where we have to talk about the developer anxiety. If AI is going to accelerate this part by 3 to 5 times, what is the human developer actually doing? Are they just managing the AI?
No, not at all. They're managing architecture, they're managing innovation, and they're solving the hard strategic problems. These AI peer programming assistants, they specialize in just removing let's call them the boring parts of the day.
You mean like writing boilerplate code?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Setting up standard API calls or manually debugging some simple syntax error. All of that just goes away.
So what's the specific mechanism here? How does the AI get that speed without, just tanking the quality?
Well, it's primarily code generation for all those repetitive patterns. But, and this is crucial, the AI also acts as a continuous optimizer. It'll suggest refactoring opportunities or security checks before the developer even compiles the code.
Oh, that's interesting.
And, maybe most powerfully, it auto-generates comprehensive unit tests and really complex edge scenarios, the kind of things a human under pressure might just skip.
That addresses a massive concern, because if you're generating code at 3 to 5 times the speed, you'd think the risk of tech debt and security holes would just skyrocket. But you're saying the AI is actually improving quality.
It is, because it's ensuring that unit test coverage is comprehensive.
Yeah.
Quality goes up because every piece of code is basically under constant review and test generation, not just after the fact.
So the developer's role?
Yeah.
It completely shifts.
It flips. Instead of spending, say, 80% of their time on standardized code and 20% on the cool new architecture,
Yeah.
that ratio just flips. They become architects first, creators first, and the AI is their hyper-efficient assistant.
Okay, so shifting from the code base to the team's rhythm, let's talk about Scrum events. We all know these meetings, planning, stand-ups, retrospectives. They're the heart of Scrum, but man, they can get bogged down in manual logistics.
Absolutely. The Scrum Master ends up spending half their week just juggling sticky notes and making sure Jira is updated.
Which takes them away from their actual job.
Which is coaching the team and removing impediments. The way the research frames this is that AI can act as an invisible, kind of perpetual listener that captures context, not just words.
Okay, invisible listener. Let's dig into that. When the AI is listening to everything, Zoom, Slack, Teams, there has to be a pretty significant data privacy challenge there, right? How do you manage that and maintain team trust?
That's the critical hurdle, you're right. The sources really emphasize that the AI has to be configured for organizational tasks, not surveillance. Meaning it transcribes, it summarizes key decisions, and it logs action items automatically into tools like Jira. The manual note-taking burden is just gone, and the data is anonymized and aggregated for insights, not for tracking individuals.
So the output is intelligence, not just a transcript. What kind of intelligence are we talking about?
It's data-driven intelligence that helps the team pivot in real time. For stand-ups, for example, the AI can analyze recent commits, maybe build failures, and flag a risk the team didn't mention.
Like what?
Like, hey, this feature branch has had 3 CI failures in the last 12 hours. It's likely an environment dependency issue.
And for retrospectives, which can get really subjective, it could bring hard data to the table.
Precisely. It can highlight recurring themes over multiple sprints. So instead of the team arguing about what went wrong, the AI can say, blockers related to waiting on the security team have come up in 3 of the last 5 sprints.
Wow. So the Scrum Master isn't hunting for problems anymore. They're just interpreting data and focusing the team on fixing the system.
Exactly. They get to focus on the high-leverage solutions. And that leads us to the 4th area, which is probably responsible for most of the drag in any organization: documentation.
The universal pain point. It's always dreaded, always pushed to tomorrow, and the result is it's always incomplete and out of date.
Right, and sprint reports just become a copy-paste job.
That nobody reads.
Right. So here, the AI analyzes the things that are always up to date. The code commits, the Jira issues, the comments, and it basically takes over the entire documentation function.
Okay, but how do we stop the AI from just generating really generic high-level docs if, say, the code comments are bad or just not there?
That's where the power of the large language model really comes in. It's not just reading comments, it's analyzing the code's actual behavior and structure. It knows what a new API endpoint does, even if the developer just wrote new endpoint in the comments.
So it can generate outputs for different audiences.
Exactly. It creates tailored outputs.
Yeah.
So first, release notes. It'll generate 2 versions, a really technical one for the engineers, and a high-level summary for the non-technical execs.
Okay.
Second, full sprint reports with velocity trends, burn-down charts, you name it, all based on real data. And third, and this is probably the most critical for engineers, API documentation built right from the code base.
That is massive. It means documentation is always in sync. You're turning an hours-long chore into a 5-minute review process. Documentation stops being a liability and becomes a real strength.
Which brings us to our 5th area, testing. Quality is everything, but testing is so often the bottleneck that causes delays, isn't it?
Yeah, you see it all the time. People writing unit tests by hand, skipping edge cases because they're out of time, or doing regression testing way too late in the game.
So AI provides this idea of continuous validation. It's tightly integrated into the CI/CD pipeline.
And for our listeners, that's continuous integration, continuous deployment, the whole automated process of building, testing, and deploying code.
That's the one. The AI basically lives inside that pipeline, acting as a relentless quality gate. It generates comprehensive test suites automatically when new code is added.
Then it knows what to test.
It does. Critically, it analyzes code coverage data to find the untested paths that could lead to bugs in production.
What's so interesting about that is the benefit isn't just raw speed, it's an intelligence we didn't really have before.
It's intelligence over speed. That's the perfect way to put it. And AI can propose these really bizarre test cases, weird data combinations, memory pressure tests, things a human tester who thinks in predictable patterns might just miss.
So you get fewer defects slipping through.
Way fewer. And the human testing team, they get to shift their focus. They stop writing repetitive unit tests and start doing the high-value, complex, exploratory testing that actually requires human insight.
Okay, so that brings us to the last piece of the puzzle. It's the non-technical one that can just silently derail any project. Team dynamics.
The silent killer.
Yeah. Tension builds, frustration rises, and by the time you hear about it in a retrospective, the damage to morale is already done.
This is a really powerful, though you have to admit, sensitive application of AI. It acts as an early warning system. It uses sentiment analysis to detect these tiny shifts in communication patterns across Slack, emails, meeting transcripts.
Hold on. That sounds a lot like surveillance, even if the intention is good. How do you make sure this thing isn't just creating a culture of fear instead of providing actual insight?
The key, according to the research, is total transparency and aggregation. The AI is looking for generalized drops in positive language or frustration points about topics, not individuals. It's not tattling.
So it provides high-level, actionable data to the Scrum Master.
Exactly. Anonymized data.
Can you give me an example of what that insight might look like?
Sure. The AI might send a private alert to a team lead that says something like, "Team sentiment has dropped 12% this sprint." The data shows a strong correlation with topics involving unclear requirements and slow code review times.
That's incredibly powerful. It completely changes the leader's role. They aren't guessing what the team feels anymore.
No, they're given specific data points that let them step in right away to clarify or coach or resolve a conflict. The humans still lead with empathy, but the AI makes sure that intervention is timely and targeted.
So we've broken down these 6 individual areas. Now we have to get to the big claim. We have 10x faster refinement, maybe 5x development speed, continuous testing, all of it. Why does that stack up to 30 times faster? Why isn't it just additive?
This is the absolute crux of the model described in the research. The gains aren't additive, they're multiplicative. Because when you remove friction in one area, you free up capacity in another in a totally nonlinear way.
Explain that mechanism.
Okay, think of it like this. When AI handles all the documentation, a developer doesn't just save 2 hours of writing release notes.
Right.
That developer now has 2 extra hours of pure, focused, creative time. When the backlog is 10 times clearer, that developer doesn't hit confusing roadblocks mid-sprint. That eliminates 5 hours of rework and debate right there.
And when testing is continuous, fewer bugs escape, which saves you the 2 days of hot fixing later on.
Exactly. The 30x doesn't come from writing code 30 times faster. It comes from eliminating, 97% of the systemic waste that was plaguing the whole process. The time saved just cascades through the system, collapsing the timelines completely.
A compounding gain.
That's it. But we have to keep coming back to the need for human control. The AI drafts, but humans decide the product strategy. The AI suggests code, but humans are responsible for the overall architecture.
AI detects, humans interpret.
The balance is non-negotiable. The tech accelerates, the humans steer.
So, to summarize this whole transformation, AI is already redefining what a successful sprint looks like across these 6 crucial areas: backlog refinement, development, Scrum events, documentation, testing, and even team dynamics.
The measurable impact is just too significant to ignore. AI doesn't replace the team, it elevates it. It removes that administrative burden and lets humans focus on what we do best: judgment, collaboration, and creative problem solving.
Which leaves us with a final, provocative thought for you to explore. If AI really could remove all the repetitive, boring work from your team's day, all the boilerplate, all the manual tests, all the admin reporting, what's the most complex, creative, unsolved problem that your team is currently ignoring because they're just too busy with the mundane? That is the question of true value in this new era.
Thanks, Alex and Melissa. You did a wonderful job on that deep dive. I look forward to hearing you and what you have discovered in our next podcast. I'd just like to say to all of you, what we have is we have our a site for the Agile Academy, the Agile Learning Academy, and you'll find it with the address that you see right below me here, which is i-am-agile.com. i-am-agile.com. And go there and you'll take a look and see the latest course that we have, the course on Extreme Agile, which has just been released. You've got a lot of information there. So go take a look at it, see what you think. And if you would like to take it, then sign on, do the purchase, and we'll see you in the course. Thank you so much. We'll see you in our next episode.